everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dora the Fluid Crafter, and we are working on our altered book. And so I have all of my pages glued together, and so I'll show you really quick what I did is I just alternated. I did top, side, and then I'm going to be doing a crossover, but I didn't glue that one down yet because that one I want to decorate the back section before I glue this down. And so you can see when you glue your pages this way, they lay like a regular book. And so when you do this, you have actual pages versus being able to see where you ripped out in between. So you can't see any of that anymore. So then you have a book. And not very many pages, but this will become thicker when you start decorating. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to just do the backgrounds, like no embellishments or anything like that. And I'll show you the reason why. Let me grab my other book that I was showing you before. Let me move my glasses out of the way here. Okay, so this was the first altar book that I did, and here I did a page for my sister. Okay, so you see all the embellishments, paper clip, you know, I mean, let me pull this off really quick. And then this here flips out. It's got all these embellishments here and whatnot. Well, the thing is, because I was doing this as I was going, when I turn the page to decorate here or here, here, and back, you know, a ways, all of my corners were being pushed. So all my pages kind of bevel a little bit, if you can see here. So you see here in the middle how they indent because they're trying to get around where I already embellished. And so just a tip of advice, if you want to do this as you go along, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. But if you want to do maybe some background, which is what I'm going to do first, and then come back and embellish, your pages will start laying flatter. So you see the difference, how these lay flat, where I stopped and I just did the background pages first. So these are flatter, whereas these are a little more curved in the center. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but they do have a slight curve to them. And then the ones in the front are a little flatter. So, I mean, you can do it however you want to. I'm not saying, you know, not to do it that way, but just kind of things that I learned with my first one. And like I said, this one's not going to be as big, but it's also going to have a lot of flip outs and flip ins and tucks and all kinds of stuff in it. So it will get bigger. So it'll be a little chunky monkey when I'm done with it. So for today's video, what I'd like to do is just do a couple of pages, background pages, just to kind of go along. And I normally start in the middle of my book. But for the purpose of this series, we're just going to start in the beginning. I don't decorate the first two because I'd like to decorate these last, the fronts and the backs here, because I want it to flow with whatever's inside. There's going to be a mix of things inside, so I want to be able to maybe do collage on the front with maybe some leftover pieces and fabrics to kind of tie it all in together. And so I am going to start on the first actual page here. This is the first actual page, but because it goes with this, I'm just going to leave that over there for now. So this is our first actual page, and this is going to be a side pocket. And so you see how we made that pocket there, okay? And then I'm going to take my circle punch. Actually, I'm going to do that afterwards, I think. So that way I can get it all together. Then what I want to do on this one is, because I want this one to be colorful, artsy type, I have got tons of printouts that I did. Most of these, I think all of them actually, are from Antique Paperie. I love her shop. She has wonderful digis. And so I wanted to kind of do a colorful, grungy type. Now this book will go in my Etsy shop when I am finished, for anybody who would like to purchase it. So let's get going here. The first page, I would like to do something, let's see here. Grungy, but not too grungy. I kind of want it to just kind of flow where it goes, slight, then real grungy in the middle, and then back out slightly, if that makes any sense at all. And so I think what we'll do is we'll do one of these here. Let me find the one I like the best. Thinking this one. I really like that one for the first page, or this one. Similar but not the same. Yeah, so let's see. This one's got a map on it. I like the map. So it's got a slight grunge but not full grunge. So I think maybe we'll do this one on the next page to kind of, you know, kind of give it that flow. Okay, so what I like to do is, because when you glue down a whole page, if you're using wet glue, it can sometimes warp your pages. I like using glue stick for this purpose, because it does not warp your pages. But as you know, it's hard to use a glue stick to glue down a whole page. So I like doing mine in sections, because I'm going to probably put pockets and flip outs and things like that on there later. So some of it's going to be covered anyways. So what I think I will do is, I am definitely want to use this map down here below. So I am going to get my rulers out. We're going to sit this over to the side for a moment. And I am going to just separate the music from the map. Like that. Yes. Okay. I'm going to take this section off here as well. And then let's get these white edges off. My table, as you know, has a bow in it. It's a really old table, and so I'm actually looking to get a new one. Okay, that fits perfectly. And then I'm going to get this music out of here. I'll put that over there. I love these rip rulers from We Are Memory Keepers. They are just astounding. Okay, so we have music and a map. So let's see here. Let's bring our book over, and they both fit on there quite nicely. But because they're in sections, it won't take as much to glue them down. So now I just have to figure out if I want the map on top, which I do like, because there's some of the map up here, but you still have a little bit of music there, which I think is wonderful. I think that would look wonderful right there. So let's do that. Let me get out my little glue book here. And we will do this one first. Now I am going to ink around my edges with my Tim Holtz Distress ink. And I am out of focus. Not sure why. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Don't know what happened, but yes. So I just took my We Are Memory Keepers and cut out some pages with my rip ruler, and now I'm going to glue them down the way that I like them. And before I do that, I'm going to use my Distress ink. My lighting is a little wonky because of the weather outside. So let's, and it could be because these are white pages, which could be the reason for the blurriness. Sorry. I do apologize for that. And now I'm not doing a whole bunch of inking, just a light around the edges to kind of bring out that ripped portion of it, to make it kind of stand out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now we wanted this one down first. Okay. And I'm going to bring out my big glue stick, and I just use a glue stick that is acid free from the Dollar Tree. A big one is the Avery. It actually works really, really well. I mean, I was really shocked at how nice this glue stick was for $1. And I am all about having good glue for my crafts, because let's face it, if you don't have a good glue, it's not going to work out too well. And I have to say that I really, really like this glue. So we are going to place this the best we can towards the top here. Smooth that out with my hands. I got it a little crooked, and that's okay. We're going to be adding pockets. As I said, this is just a background section. I'm going to be doing some trims and things like that way later on. And so this is the map that we want to have at the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll line it up on this side like this. Okay. Let me change that since we're using bigger pieces here. I'm gonna have to get another glue book here very soon. So now I'm going to just line that up the best I can on this side, like so. Let's smooth that down. Yes, that looks great. And so there is my first background, which I think looks wonderful. And as you add things on here, your pages get thicker, you know what I mean? Like they stiffen up. And so the next page, and I want to bring my book up like this, and so that way my page is flat, if that makes sense. Okay, and so on this side, let me move that out of the way too. On this side, I want to add this sheet, and I want to get this corner piece in there if I can, and see how red and kind of a little more grungy that is. I could do the brown side and tie in the music, which I may do also. I think I will do that. And then use this as I go along. Okay. So yes, let's do that. I'm going to close that so it can dry for a moment. And let me see here. And I'm just cutting off the parts that I do want. Let's get that white off of there. And like I said, I'm not trying to cover the whole page, as there are going to be embellishments and things like that added onto the page as well. So there's really no reason for me to cover the whole page, especially around the edges. Okay, so let's see where we are here. Okay, yes, I think that will work wonderful. And so I'm going to go right across the top of this music here, like that, and I'm going to cut that off. Like so. Okay, like that. Sorry. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of interest in the middle. Okay, and then let's see, does that fit? Yes, it does. Okay, so I want to keep these just about there so I know where to place that. So we're going to go boot and either. Okay, and I'm only going to ink up these end pieces because the other pieces will be covered. Okay, let me bring out my glue book. Okay, boot and either. And I stay away from the center right here. I just go to the edge of the words and then I push down that way. Like so. Okay, and then we are going to do the other pages. And I'm only going to do the top and the sides this time to make it look more like a collage versus, let's see, that's the top, okay. So we would do the bottom and the sides on this one. Like so. Okay. Okay, we will do this one first. sure it's upside right. And just go right to that edge. Lay the book flat and then push over. And then I'm going to do this one. And because this glue book is so small, it's hard to get more than one page out of a page to glue down. But that's okay. I think instead of using the books, I think I'm just going to use some of the bigger pages I have out of books and lay that down. Okay, and so here is the top page, and once again we're just going to line it up to that edge best we can. Lay the book down and press over. Like so. And since we didn't ink here and here, it just kind of looks like it's a collage. And so now we have our first two background pages. And now this here is what I wanted to show you. Let me close my glue stick really quick. Is I wanted to decorate behind here. Push it down again. Before I closed over the flap. But before I do that, I do want to put a little glue stick just right here to put that edge down. So that way when I do fold it over, I don't forget. Okay, and this way it doesn't pull up or anything gets stuck on it. Okay, so before I do that side, I want to put something right here, but something different this time. So we use those two sheets. And so I was thinking we have flowers and things. And let's do this one. I love this side of this page. So I was thinking of doing this side. I love that so much. So I'm just going to close my book. I'm going to get my ruler, and most of these printables have that little slight line down the middle, so you can always follow that line if you're not sure where to rip it at. Let me move that out of the way here before anything gets stuck on it. And then let's get these white edges off. Whoops. Bloopers. Okay, so, whoops. See? Okay. Yep. Absolutely need a new table. Okay, so now we are doing the inside section here and then the flap. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to just kind of see what we'll cover here. Let me fix this really quick so I can close the page. Okay, and so then I just take my pencil and I just mark the top and the bottom. And then I take my metal ruler, because it doesn't need to be, you know, serrated. And then I find my marks, which there's one. Now I want to go down a little bit further than my mark so it goes actually up underneath. Okay. And so I am going to actually rip it about there. And we're going to hope and pray. that I got that right. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back here. Yes, and then now it fits in the back. And then I could take the other piece, line it up, and cover the front so that it looks like one full piece and a little secret pocket. So let's get this inked up around the top and side. You don't need to do the bottom because that's going to be covered up. Let me get my glue stick in my book. And I'm actually going to turn my book before I do this so I can see it this way. It's just easier to lay the page when it's upside down versus trying to look over the top. For me, anyways. Okay. And remember, you're going upside down if you do it this way. I'm just going to line it up a little away from the edge and to the top here. Smush it down. Double check. Yes. Woohoo! We got it. Like so. And then I'm going to flip it back around. Take the other piece that I was working with and bring it up like so. And then I'm going to glue that down right there. I'm not going to worry about the bottom because I'm probably going to put a little pocket here, so that's okay. As I said, we're just doing background pages right now. So what I'm going to do on this one is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this before I glue it down because as you know, trying to ink this afterwards is crazy to do. And I'm not worried about the other edges. I will go back up, you know, as I'm embellishing and see where I want to ink on the edges of the pages and things like that. So, and then we want to ink up the page here around the edges. And like I said, I'm just doing a slight ink, nothing too extravagant, just enough to kind of bring out the where it was ripped to make it look, you know, like it's vintage. Take a sip of my coffee. Okay. And then I'm going to lay this up here really quick because I want to see where exactly it's going to go. Okay. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because it's at an awkward shape. So I'm going to have to try to hurry putting the glue on here before it dries. And I don't want it to go right all the way over on that edge. I just, because I want a little bit of those letters sticking out. And then I'm just going to lift it up, rub my finger down it, and pull it down that way. Put the lid back on that. Like so. Get rid of this before something sticks to it. And then to complete this pocket, what you would do is you would just take your wet glue and then you would go down this side and down this side. And like I said, I always like to try to get in between a little bit of these so that way it just kind of has it all sticking down. And I don't go all the way to the edge because when I rub it, it smears it that way anyway. Like so. Put the cat back on there. And then I pull it around. I lean my book up straight so that way my page is still straight like before. I start down here. And I rub down and out. I come up underneath, I pull it through and up. And that gives it a very tight hold, I guess you could say. Wipe off any excess glue around the bottom. And that is a couple of background pages for you guys. So here's 1, 2, we've just made our first pockets, and in the next video we will be doing the next page. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay that flat, let that completely dry, and hopefully my pages will lay flat when I open them. They may not until I glue the other side, and that's okay. And so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. So I really hope that you guys will be back for part 4. This will be part 3, and we'll continue doing some of our background pages. Okay, guys, stay crafty. Bye-bye now.